Hello everybody, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for Bandai's DX/Robot Spirits VB6 Konig monster toys. To begin, you're going to want to free up the legs. You do that by just applying a little backwards pressure on this piece here. You can see I got a gap there now, and the leg just comes right out. You're just going to kind of pull away, get some separation there, and repeat on the other side. Just pull back on this little piece here, it loosens up a little bit of tension, pull away. Now you can see there is a little T-shaped peg that was on, and that's how you freed it up. So as you're trying to wiggle jiggle, keep in mind that T shape. You're now going to turn your attention to the bottom of the toy. You're going to go ahead and plop these little plates down, and that frees up enough room for you to go ahead and rotate the legs with a little bit of pressure up and in. So you should get them vertically straight down. You could also go ahead and straighten out your future toes at this point. Next step you're going to want to do is push forward on the thigh. You can see my whole leg pretty much just disassembled there. So press forward on the thigh. You'll get your leg to separate. And then you're going to just apply a little pressure on the bottom part of the kneecap, and that relieves a peg that's on the front of the kneecap and allows you to extend this entire section downward. Go ahead and repeat that process on the opposite side. Now I would point out that there is a little peg on the top of the kneecap. That is going to fold forward and go into this slot right here. So let's bring it up. See that peg going into that slot. So same thing again, other side. Peg into slot. Alright, not so bad. Now you are going to bring this piece here. You want to free it up and go over this heel. So you're going to need some room, so you might want to pivot at this future knee here a little bit to get you some clearance. And then you should be able to wiggle jiggle. Got to get the little angle right and pop it up behind the heel like so. And then that allows you to push forward on the heel. And we'll click that into place there. Again, repeating on the other side. Bring this up. And then press the heel forward. So there's a pivot within the heel. And what happened right there was if the pivot is back, the heel doesn't have the room to go forward. So you need that pivot forward and then click the heel forward. Once that is done, you can rotate on the knee. There's a second rotation point up here too. So you want to rotate this forward and this forward. And if you've done everything right, this groove right here is going to fit in the slot of these forward arms. So there you go, we got that there. And now I came out of my slot up here, but I should be able to just peg right back in. So there you go, that's how you want your leg to be. At that point you can bring up this back heel piece. You're not going to really lock it into position, you're just bringing it, you're elevating it back above the heel. And then you're going to turn the toy over and free up your feet. Now when you do this, you might feel the leg popping out. It's not really a big deal. You've got it in essentially the right spot. And when you handle the toy in GERWALK mode, you're probably going to be adjusting the legs anyways. Flipping back over just to show you for good measure. Pivot here, bring it all the way down. Pivot here, bring it all the way forward. Slot, peg, they fit together. Bring the back up, open up the feet, and there you have it. This next step is a whole lot easier going to GERWALK mode than it is going back to shuttle mode. We are going to try to free up the arms. There are several pegs. There's 2 pegs in the front. The pegs on either side, those pegs on the side are attached to these T-pegs that we used earlier, which recess later in transformation. So that's why when going back to shuttle mode, you can inadvertently push those pegs in and then they don't exist to press into. It can be very frustrating. And then there are 2 pegs in the back that attach the arms to each other. So it all makes for a very secure shuttle mode, but a very difficult transformation back to shuttle mode from GERWALK mode. For our purposes, not so bad. We're just going to pry them apart. There's these pegs in the back. You can see them coming free. Then there was the peg that popped off right here. There's a slot. There's the peg. So again, on the other side, we just have to a little upward pressure. There's the peg. Arms are now free in the back. So now we just need to kind of pull away. And you can see the 2 pegs in the front there, which are now free. So to get the arm to come towards us, we need to rotate it so it can get over this plastic piece here. So we just kind of rotate a little bit away and swing the arm outward. So I'm going to rotate, and by rotating I am clearing again this piece of plastic here, and rotate and swing away. So your toy will now look like this. Now we're going to focus on the guns, which flip out from the internal storage. Bring them all the way back, and you'll hear a click when they are into place. There is a peg here, right in the center. It's got a little notch to help you pull it out, but in my experience, it can be a little difficult. I got that one out, no problem. Now you're going to go ahead and fold over, a little stiff. Oh, why are you so stiff? You're going to want to line the peg up so it goes into that slot right there. And there you go. You can also go ahead and push those little guys in right now, the little T pegs that held your legs in. And your guns are now in position. Alright, now we're going to focus on the arms and getting them in the proper position. You want to go ahead and rotate them around. So you got the fins on top. And then go ahead and bring your arms forward. Gonna get everything straightened out. Don't worry too much about how you got everything at this point. Flip your fins down on the shoulders, but not all the way down, because next you are going to rotate the arm back and tuck that fin internally, and then rotate the shoulder up a notch and get it all tucked in. So it looks like that. So again, fins down a little bit, bringing the arm back. See, if you have the fin down all the way, it'll get pinched, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be rotating anyways. So get that fin internal, rotate your shoulder up. Now see, if you screw up, your fin will get stuck up there. So you do want to have that fin down enough where it will be in the downward position once it's internal. And then rotate up and in, and there you go. Now you have this nice, everything kind of comes to the center shape. Now with your arms, you want to go ahead and slide them. They're on a little pivot mechanism here. You just slide it all the way back, rotate them around, and bring them down. And you want them to look like that. Okay, we're almost there. Gonna go ahead and pull down the nose cone. It swings back and around, and then the top of the nose cone becomes a baffle that slides forward. Should look like that. And then we need to expose the turret. So what I am going to do, get this arm out of our way, I pull down on this front hinge and I gently push up on the back, and generally that works out pretty well. There we go. So if you missed that, the whole toy just slid upward. And a turret was revealed underneath the mouth. So here is the turret underneath the mouth. So At this point, you're going to have a whole lot of fine-tuning to do, but you are there. Before we go to battroid mode, I think it's worth reminding you that you don't have to do this. No one will force you to transform this toy into battroid mode. But if you are insisting on doing that, you'll be happy to know it's not very hard to accomplish. We're going to turn the toy to its side, and we're going to swing the legs down. So, before we do this, it actually might be better to do a couple things. Let's bring the nose cone forward, just to get it out of the way. And then bring the legs forward. So I've brought them what I think is far enough forward for everything to work. I'm now going to lift up on the guns and free them from that peg I've attached behind the cockpit. So lift and jerk. It's kind of it requires more pressure than you realize. There you go. That is freed now. There is a fork that we've revealed below. It's on a hinge, and there are the two slots that you used to connect the display stand in shuttle mode. We are going to get those two slots into that fork, and if it's not lining up, probably means your legs have gotten pushed up during transformation, but it should just fall kind of into place, and then you can bring the guns forward. Now you want this peg to connect to that slot right in there. So we're going to bring that peg forward. And that's very stiff. And another thing, you want to make sure that you've got these buttons pressed all the way in, because it's a very tight fit on the sides of the gun. So I'm going to bring that peg down a little bit as I try to pull it forward. There you go. And everything just locked very nicely into place there. Now we want to go ahead and straighten out the legs. You want this joint up top to come straight down. So on the other side, straightening it out. Get those legs straightened out. And we are going to bring the kneecap down. Now you don't want to bring the whole hip down, just the kneecap. And get that into place. And you can see it's already kind of getting into position. You're going to go ahead and bring the feet closed and your heel spike all the way down. And the toy should now kind of lean forward a little bit. Now we're going to try to free up the head, and I normally like to do that by beginning with the shoulders. So you're going to kind of rotate them and pull them forward. And as you get to about this point, you can actually push the shoulders back, and then they have enough room to slide forward. So now that they're slid forward and kind of out of my way, I'm going to focus on that head. So you can lift up on the canopy and lift up on the panel behind the head, and then lift up on the head itself. Now in doing that, I actually pivoted the head pretty far forward there. That's actually a good thing. So you're going to get the head all the way up and out. And then you're going to bring down the cockpit. You can turn the head a little bit if it gets in the way. So let's get that. See the cockpit slide inside there. It's getting nice and tucked in. Then we're going to straighten the head back out, and we're going to bring it all the way forward. We're going to bring it as far forward as we can and keep the back of the head up. And we're actually going to apply a lot of pressure to get that head as tilted as we can, so that we could bring in that back plate underneath it. And there you go. Now you've got your head where you need it to be. You can go ahead and free up that fin on top of it, and your head is in place. Now we want to get the arms in their proper position, and mine look a little something like this. Yours might look different depending on what you've been doing as you handle the toy. But we're going to go ahead and rotate the shoulders forward. And I'm going to pivot my arm out there so I can make sure I got that right into place. Your fins should be lying on top of the shoulder. If they're not, make sure they are now. And then you've got this sloppiness of joints directly underneath. You want the joint to look something like this. Again, if you got screws pointed forward, you're doing something wrong. This is probably good enough for what we want. Then we're going to rotate the arm around. And that gets our fist pointing forward, which is good. And then we're going to slide the fist kind of awkwardly to the position that we feel is best. There's no real indent to tell you what is proper. They do give you little dots so you can see kind of how far in you've got one arm and make the other arm that same distance. So apparently I am using 5 dots as my correct amount of sliding. And there you go. We are pretty much in battroid mode at this point. I moved the nose cone kind of out of my way to start things off. If you are using the instructions, it tells you to go ahead and tuck it back in just like you had in GERWALK mode. If you are trying to go more for the VFX look, the line art actually shows the nose cone points downward, and then you bring up this piece here, kind of just like that. And there you go. This is battroid mode. Now, if you've done everything and you got the legs perfectly straight, it's probably leaning forward on you. You're going to fix that by giving a little curve to the leg. And that will make it stand nice and straight for you. Alright, one last thing to show you. There is an extension just below the shoulder. And there it is extended. You can pull it up. In the top position, it spins a little more freely. If you extend it all the way down, it adds a little bit of tension. So it acts a little bit more like a ratcheted joint. So that helps get your shoulders, or makes everything look a little bit more line art accurate by pulling that down. So there you go. This is battroid mode. Definitely check out my full review on anymoon.com. And as always, thanks for watching.